I forgot to turn on the music before I start speaking with you. Yes, hi, hello. It's me, just Tiny today. It's loud music. Maybe I should turn down inside Spotify. There we go. Anyways, hi, hello. Yes, I am Tiny. Yes, I am still Cat. But I am so much more than just Cat. But yeah, today is a Friday review. So, at our very own Mew Mart today, you could buy that's what you can buy. That's what you can buy. Because we're going PNG tonight. We're gonna have a chill time talking about supermarkets and stores and all that. This idea was given to me by Xiaodida. So we'll shout him out. I don't think I have shoutouts turned on in this chat. Maybe I should remedy that. Doop 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 doop. Wait, where'd I put it? There we go. That's where I put it. Just because people seem to like shoutouts, so we'll have shoutouts. It'll be nice and have shoutouts. So we're gonna shout out Cell for giving me this idea.
Slime everywhere.
Oh man, it's so tiny.
Oh! Fuck, that got me! God damn it!
Anyways, yes. Today we are talking about supermarkets.
Fucking Christ.
Why are we talking about supermarkets? Cause
Just to make sure that gets clear.
Yeah. The first part of this presentation for Friday Review Time, of course, will be educational. Why? Because I believe that we should get educated if we're going to talk about subjects. Just like with the snakes thing, I'm gonna give you some education, and then we're gonna talk about some messed up things that have happened at stores. So yeah, supermarkets, are they dangerous or just chill places? We got different types of markets. We got traditional groceries, we got non-traditional groceries, and we got other type of stores like Best Buy. But since Best Buy and like furniture stores and stuff generally don't sell foods, apparently snacks are not considered enough of a food to qualify them to become a market. They're not considered markets. So yeah. Also, the Spotify playlist might be a little weird. I don't know what's going on in the song. Anyways. Traditional groceries consist of traditional supermarkets like Albertsons, Safeway, and Kroger. They just have a full line of groceries. You get your perishables, your non-perishables. Perishables are things like eggs, milk, and stuff that can go bad. Non-perishables are things that are self-shapeable, like things in cans and boxes. We got the fresh format. Tends to only offer perishable and off-center store assortments like Whole Foods and the Fresh Market. I enjoy Whole Foods. We got limited assortment discount format, which is low price value for money grocers. These are grocery stores that have an ever-changing variety of stuff depending on what the season is or what's available. So we have Aldi, Lidl, Trader Joe's, and Save a Lot. I think grocery outlets up here in Washington also fit into that format because they tend to rotate stock. We have super warehouses. High volume hybrid of traditional supermarkets and warehouse stores, i.e. Cub Foods, Food for Less, and Smart and Final. These ones will sell some variety of bulk items, but generally just things that might be, not selling at other places. Kind of like how you get Ross, where it sells a bunch of clothes from high-end stores. Super warehouses tend to have a lot of that too. Then you got small convenience grocery stores. Small corner stores carry a limited selection of staples and other convenience goods like 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Alpha Mart. A lot of truck stops tend to be small convenience grocers. like come and go. Anyways, not traditional groceries. We got a bigger list of these. We got wholesale clubs. You guys know them as Sam's Clubs, Costco, and BJ's. I did not know BJ's was a wholesale club. I just thought it was a store with a funny name. We got super centers, hybrid of large traditional supermarket and mass merchandisers, i.e. Walmart supercenters, Super Target, Mayer, and Kroger marketplaces. I've been to a Walmart supercenter. Those things are fucking gigantic. We have variety stores, which are small store format with aggressive price points like Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Action, Pep & Co., Poundland, and Family Dollar. Dollar General is no longer, and Dollar Tree no longer sell things for just $1. The prices have gone up. Then we have drugstores, pharmacies with a store component like Walgreens, DM, As Watson's, CVS, Rite Aid, Bartell's, you name it. A lot of pharmacies have actually become a drugstore format. There is very little pharmacies, unless they're compounding pharmacies, that are actually still pharmacies. We have mass merchandisers, big stores selling merchandise but also have a grocery and non-edible grocery items like Walmart, Kmart, wherever those still are, and Target. We also have other ones. Military commissaries. I've been to commissaries. Commissaries are huge and they sell a lot of international goods. They're conventional grocery store that is restricted to active or retired military personnel. Civilians are not allowed to shop at these. You have to be a retired or active military member, and only immediate family like your kids, if they have a military ID, can shop there. So you can't just like give it to your brother and sister. It has to be you and your immediate offspring, and of course your partner. But the BX and the PX are not the same. PX is where you buy things like TVs and shit like that. BX is where you buy groceries, if I remember right. Then you've got e-commerce. And yes, I kept that one spelling mistake in because I thought it was funny. Groceries and other consumables that can be ordered using the internet. Think Amazon and other stores not offering those services. Apparently ShopRite has become a e-commerce thing. Amazon has it. They're not just Amazon Prime, but also their grocery store called Fresh. But yes, I thought me spelling Amazon was funny, so I kept that in there. And hypermarkets are what you would call a supercenter or supermarkets outside of the US. So like if you are living in another country and you're like, what the fuck is a supercenter? Well, it's a hypermarket. Also, if you like my content, subscribe, follow, like, all that stuff for engagement. And we still have my GoFundMe campaign going on. Every dollar towards it also goes towards games that we unlock for me to play on stream. But yes, now let's go into the shadier parts of supermarkets and the like. First off, this is simple shoplifting crimes, also known as shop theft, retail theft, or retail fraud. These include amateurs to career criminals. Amateurs steal what they need, whereas career criminals steal to resell high-priced items in the underground economy / black market. A example of this is I used to work at a Toys R Us 6 months before Toys R Us completely went bankrupt and sold all their stores. And what would happen there is people would steal Legos to the point where even the tiny little Legos had thief tags on them. Because Legos they could sell at the Lego store or like refund at the Lego store and so on. Shoplifting also happens with swapping price labels. Did I seriously keep that spelling mistake in? Yeah, price labels, return fraud, or eating and drinking the items in the store without paying for them. As a former retail worker, some people will eat, drink only half the item and stick the rest behind other products. In this case, like a half-eaten donuts behind shampoo bottles. I have also found other rather disgusting items hidden behind other products like used condoms. This was before the Walmart I worked at started putting condoms inside sealed cases. This causes stores to start locking items up, which is an inconvenience to everyone, with stores cutting down workers to encourage the use of self-checkouts. Target is a noticeable case of losing sales due to people having too many items for self-checkout, but only having 1 or 2 cashier for large orders. The average Target checkout seems to be between an hour and hour and a half nowadays, because people go to Target to buy bulk items and bulk things like to decorate their homes and stuff like that. They're not just going to Target for 1 or 2 things that easily go to a self-checkout like at a Walmart. No, they're buying carts full of shit. Target, knock it the fuck off. Please, Target, knock it the fuck off. And we have organized retail crime. These crimes have different types of operations that vary all the way from truck jacking, shoplifting, smash and grab, cargo theft, and cargo diversion. You can find videos of all of these things online. Usually they're in compilations of like scary crimes or stupid crimes, all sorts of things. Oh my god, some of the videos you will find are hilarious of the stupid criminals. Like these guys throwing bricks at a bulletproof window, and then one of the bricks ricochets back hard enough to knock the one guy out. That's hilarious. These crimes are committed by groups such as regional gangs and up to international crime rings. There are cases of it being accomplices within the stores or corporations that are hit. These losses to groups like these can lead to billions of dollars of losses, which stores use as an excuse to jack up the price of items, which leads to even more theft due to poverty of wages, making it hard for people to afford even basic necessities. And my note is, lower the prices, lower the crimes. You would think this is basic fucking common sense, but no, billionaires are fucking idiots. And that includes the man who owns a certain store that owns this certain streaming channel. Anyways, just thought of a funny one for cargo diversion. A few years ago, a massive cargo diversion happened where people stole millions of dollars worth of maple syrup. Canada. Now we have convenience store crimes. Shoplifting is a common crime in convenience stores, as are people trying to use fake IDs to buy 18 plus items. Robberies are common enough where stores start making this harder by changing store layouts and other deterrents to try and mitigate these crimes. Money is the biggest factor in these crimes. What I mean by changing store layouts is that they'll put they used to have checkouts in the back of these convenience stores. Like you play old games and it was always in the back. But to deter crimes, they now have the checkouts in the front. And they have the store set up in such a way where there's like either cameras that people can watch at the check stands, or there's the giant mirrors on the walls, or they have the aisles set up in such a way where the convenience store worker just has to move a little bit to be able to watch everybody. 7-Eleven actually has a really smart layout of their store to deter crime. So like think 7-Eleven, think most gas stations, and you will see that the layouts are literally set up the way to keep people from stealing shit. Gasoline theft can still happen, but has dropped down a lot since 2005, with the application of prepaid pumps having to go into stores to get the pump working, and 2 states, New Jersey and Oregon, being full service only. Why did I point out 2005? Well, 2005, something called Hurricane Katrina happened. Hurricane Katrina was bad not just in the loss of life, but also so much gasoline theft happened because people weren't there to protect the gasoline. So much gasoline was stolen during that time that led to a very big loss in profits. So since 2005, majority of gas pumps are prepay only now. Just so that something like Hurricane Katrina levels of gas theft can't happen again. It still happens. There are still like small town gas places that don't have prepay pumps. And those are ones that you'll see like on the news where somebody's driving off with like the handle of a gas pump still stuck in their tank. Now we're coming up to simpler messed up food crimes. Is it technically theft if you take a sample from such things as fruit? Or it is technically theft if you take samples from such thing as fruit. Why is it theft? You're changing the weight of the item. So, if you're doing something like, oh, shit, are these grapes any good? And you take a grape and you eat it, that's technically considered a form of theft. How do I know this? I've had watched so many retail videos. Some people have been caught inserting sharp objects like needles into fruit and vegetables as either revenge against the workplace or to intentionally hurt other people. One in Australia was found sticking needles in strawberries as revenge for being fired from the store that she was at, but she is not the only one who's ever done this. People breaking seals off of sealed items to either contaminate them with chemicals or licking them, or taking a sample from the sealed food item and placing it back. Makeup is also contaminated that way for people who are too stupid to use samplers. If you find a sealed item in a store and the seal has been broken, somebody has either sampled from it or may have contaminated in some other way. It is very easy to tell if it has been damaged in transit or damaged by people. So if the lid comes off of your sealed item way too easily, don't trust it. Just take it back to the store, get a refund or an exchange. You don't want to fuck with this stuff. You could never know what people do. And during the pandemic, it became a viral trend to lick ice cream containers and put them back. A lot of people claim that afterwards they bought the item, but that's still so disgusting. How do some stores track thieves? Several stores like Walmart have gotten so sneaky that they will track thieves through cameras and keep letting you do it till the thief hits a certain dollar amount where they can be charged and arrested. Now, the dollar amount varies by state. For some, I believe small claims court is up to $8,000, but it has like a minimum. And anything after that can be charged with almost a federal crime. So yeah, if you know somebody who regularly steals from Walmart and they're like, I'm sticking it to the man. Look at all this shit I'm stealing. Let them know that Walmart is tracking them. Walmart has their face in the system. Walmart has pretty good cameras. They know who you are. They are tracking you. They are waiting till you fuck up and steal just the right amount for the cops to come in and arrest your ass. This method is used due to laws introduced that limit what security employees can do to prevent theft. This is to avoid being sued for assault and battery, i.e. you can't touch people who are stealing items anymore. The moment your hand touches somebody, you can get fired. This is something that is stressed in retail work. If you touch a person who is trying to steal something, that is grounds for your workplace to fire you. For an anecdote, I managed to grab a ball from someone stealing it without touching them, and my manager praised me for that since the thief would not be able to try and sue us. Believe me, it made me anxious to even try. It was at a Walgreens. We were just locking up the alcohol section. This guy happened to grab a bottle of Fireball. The reason I was able to get the ball from him is because he was swinging it back because my manager was in front of him trying to divert him away from the door trying to escape. And so he swung his arm back. I grabbed a bottle and the anti-thief thing was still on the top of it and the ball just slipped out of it and the guy left with the anti-theft device. But he didn't leave with the alcohol. So that was kind of funny. Anyways, fun fact, despite the training that employees are given, the white population is far more likely to steal than any other race. Prejudice and racial bias will tell you otherwise. When I worked at the Dollar Tree, I was told straight up by one of my managers is like, oh, watch the white people coming in. They're more likely to steal. And they were right. They were so fucking right. Now, social media and shopping. On sites like TikTok, viral trends can lead to food loss and stealing. There's a group of guys who thought it was hilarious to throw gallons of milk into the air as they tripped and fell. This is highly dangerous since people could have gotten seriously hurt. Their videos are still on YouTube today, mostly on channels where people make comments, so commentary channels where they're just like, wow, these guys are fucking idiots. Agreed. Idiots will literally make videos of the stealing that have been used in court cases in order to charge them or get them banned from stores. With the rise of social media, you're going to come across a lot more stupid thieves. Destruction of property and other food ruining videos also exist. Oh, the amount of food that is wasted by some of these people for some clout. There are also helpful TikToks when it comes to shopping, like the 6-1 method, which is 6 vegetables, 5 fruits, 4 proteins, 3 starches, 2 sauces or spread, and 1 fun item. This has actually helped people cut down on how much they spend at grocery stores, and actually has helped some people eat more vegetables, eat more fruits and stuff like that, and have healthier diets. It's not for everybody. If you live in what is called a food desert, you sometimes don't have the best access to things like this. And what is meant by food desert is you may only have like one store in a 20-mile radius. That would be considered a food desert. I don't live in one of those. There's plenty of stores where I am at. But when I lived in Kansas, the one place we lived at pushed the border of being almost a food desert, but it had like Kroger's and Walmart, so it wasn't the worst. But there's like small towns where literally all they have is a gas station. That would be considered very much a food desert. Now then, we're moving on to wild crimes within stores. And we do have some trigger warnings for people who cannot handle true crime stuff and all that. So, we're going to be talking about murders. Not as much mass shooting wise. I only have one mass shooting in here. Because there is a lot of mass shootings that happens in grocery stores. And I'm only covering one due to what it was about, and not the ones that were racially biased, which have been the ones that have been in the majority of these days. The one I'm covering is not racially biased. It is just weird because of who it was and how it happened. But if you want to see depressing statistics, look at mass shootings within grocery stores and see why some people don't want to go to grocery stores anymore. Self-life ending things, drugs, accidents, and seriously, if you can't handle crime that isn't just shoplifting and ends the life, instead, please just leave and save your mental health. I don't want to cause anybody distress. So yeah, if you don't want the stress, goodbye. These are murders in stores. These are not all the crimes, just some notable ones. And we are starting off with the Lululemon murder. It occurred on March 11th, 2011 in Bethesda, Maryland. 2 victims were found inside the store, Jana Murray and Brittany Norwood. Jana Murray was the only death. Brittany Norwood said it was men in ski masks that came in and attacked and assaulted them and left them for dead. The kicker, the evidence didn't match Norwood's story. None of it. Brittany Norwood had staged the entire attack to get away with killing Jana Murray. Why? Murray was about to come out to the manager that Norwood stealing inventory. Norwood was charged and convicted of first-degree murder and is still behind bars. If you want to see some really good videos on that, there are plenty of true crime channels. There are a few that have covered the Lululemon murders in far more detail. And this was just literally Norwood was stealing. She was stealing tights and leggings. Tights and leggings. She murdered somebody for tights and leggings that aren't even that good. Lululemon should not be confused with the MLA with the similar sounding name. which is like Lulum, like because yeah, Lululemons are the actual store, and yeah, the tights are called LuLaRoe. So don't confuse Lululemon with LuLaRoe. Lululemon is an actual store. LuLaRoe is an MLM. Now, we have the I-70 killer. Spree killings that started on April 8, 1992 in a Payless shoe source. The only victim at this place was Robin Foldauer, who was shot and the register emptied of $100. She was the opening manager on that day, and it was said from witnesses that a man came in shortly after the store opened, and that Foldauer was actually not found until somebody came in to relieve her from her opening shift later on in the day. April 11th at the La Bride d'Elegance bridal shop in Wichita was the next place hit. Patricia Smith and Patricia Majors were both killed after closing time. A third potential victim got away and gave the details for the first composite sketch. What happened was the third potential victim came there to pick something up, and the killer apparently tried to invite them in. They got a bad vibe, so they left. April 27th, at Sylvia's Ceramic Stores in Terre Haute, Indiana, Michael McCown was killed and robbed of $50. This was his mother's store and believed to have been hit since it was such a small store. Again, unfortunately, Michael McCown was not found until later, and also with the bridal shop, nobody found the bodies until the next day. May 3rd at Boot Village in St. Charles, Missouri, Nancy Kitzmiller was killed while she was opening a store. She was shot in the back of the head and the store once again robbed. Witnesses saw someone entering the store around when they thought the death occurred, and another composite sketch was made. Boot Village also was a smaller store. May 7th, at the store of Many Colors in Raytown, Missouri, Sarah Blessing became the last known victim. Again, a very small store. All these cases happened along the I-70 by the same man. Unfortunately, this is a cold case, as no one has ever been caught or named for these murders, and a few suspected murders may have been linked to them to this day. The reason they know that this was the same person was because of the witnesses. It was along I-70, and the same caliber was used for the guns. They all had similar MOs, and they all had similar sketches, but yeah, to this day, no one's ever been arrested for it. I don't think anybody ever will be arrested for it. Not at this rate. There was no DNA evidence left there. Remember to hydrate, everybody. Okay, the Hi-Fi murders occurred on April 22nd, 1974 in Ogden, Utah. Several men came into a Hi-Fi shop, took hostages, and attempted to, at first, kill them by forcing them to drink drain cleaner. When this didn't work, the torture started. After they were done torturing, 3 of the 5 were shot, and the survivors were left with life-altering injuries. So yeah, they took hostages. There was 5 of them. I will not go into detail about the tortures, but some of the tortures were concentrated, or like one of the worst tortures was concentrated on one of the survivors who was 18 years old at the time. Well, no, one of the victims who passed away who was 18 years old at the time. Just from that age, if you can think of what the crime was, yeah. 3 men were convicted. They were all Air Force members, and 2 of the 3 were sentenced to death and later on executed. The getaway driver was only convicted of robbery. The other 3 men who participated were never caught, and the men who were convicted never gave up who their accomplices were. Stanley Walker, Sherry Michelle Ainsley, and Carol Nisbet were 3 victims who passed away due to these gruesome crimes. I will not name the killers. A lot of these crimes, I will not name the killers because they don't need that. We should be remembering the victims, not the killers. The 2 victims and survivors who came away from this just had to deal with what happened. And the worst part is that when these people lost a family member due to this. So yeah, it, there is also videos about the Hi-Fi murders and the I-70 killer if you want more in-depth looks at it. I know that the channel called The Casual Criminalist has some very good videos about some of these things. Okay, this one hopefully everybody has heard of. One moment. Sorry, I didn't want to burp. Okay, the Chicago Tylenol murders. Drug tampering deaths that happened between September through October 1982. The contaminated Tylenol was sold in different stores as the victims who bought it did not buy them at the same retailers. September 28th was the death of the first victim, Mary Kellerman, age 12, who was given the dose by her parents. She died a day after taking it. September 29th took 6 more victims, 3 of who took the tainted medication from the same bottle. What happened to the 3 who took it from the same one is that one victim took it, fell ill, and the stress of it was so much that 2 of the other people decided to take some Tylenol to like get rid of the headaches they were getting, and all 3 of them passed away. It was Arlington Heights' only public health official at the time, Nurse Helen Gentz, who discovered the Tylenol bottle along with the receipt, noting that there were 6 missing pills. She's the reason police even had a clue to investigate the medication in the first place, leading them to find it laced with cyanide. Cyanide, if you smell cyanide, has like a kind of an almond smell and taste to it from people who have actually ingested cyanide and lived. It is very potent. It has some very fucked up effects on the body. If you need to know what it does to the body, look that up on your own time. It is not nice. In very tiny doses, it may make you ill, but the doses that everybody had here were enough to kill them. Thanks to this finding, it led to a total recall of several lots of Tylenol across several different stores in the Chicago area. The 7 victims are the only known deaths from the tainted Tylenol. This began a campaign in manufacturing of the tamper-proof pill balls we know now. The perpetrator was never caught, but several copycats have occurred over the years, like the strychnine being added to Tylenol in California. Johnson & Johnson recalled Tylenol not just from Chicago, but they recalled Tylenol from all across America. They didn't know how widespread this was. Johnson & Johnson was also the first company to start creating tamper-proof bottles. And later on, not only did other medication manufacturers follow suit, which is why we have like the child-proof medication caps when you go to your pharmacy, but also like food items started having tamper seals on them because of the Chicago Tylenol murders. It was something that spread across a lot of different industries just to make sure people were safe and weren't being like potentially murdered. This is the mass shooting that I said I was going to cover, and it is by a YouTuber. The channel no longer exists, but there are people who covered it. The YouTuber Randy Stair, aka Andrew Blaze, in 2017 committed a murder-suicide in a store he worked. He regularly spoke about mental and emotional issues on his various social media media platforms. Wow, that is a bad sentence I wrote. Before he uploaded a video about the upcoming massacre on his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel was gone. You can't find it, but there are people who have gotten videos from like archives and like Wayback Machine. He literally posted a video about the massacre an hour before he started his shift. He went to work as usual and then proceeded to block the exits to make sure the other workers with him could not escape. In the end, he ended the life of 3 co-workers and then took his own life in the same store. The only coworker left alive was the one who called the police after she was able to escape by breaking a window as he went around the store. From her story, he looked at her. She thought he was going to shoot her, and then for some reason he just didn't. And so she ran. She broke a window. She got outside and hid in the bush, called the police. That's the only reason the police were able to show up. Stair was obsessed with Ember McLean from Danny Phantom and believed he would be reincarnated as her. Randy Stair regularly talked about issues like gender identity and stuff, and he would be one of the first known cases of like kinning to a bad degree. Moment. Hubby's gonna go swim. But yes, Explore With Us has a really good and detailed documentary about Randy Stair named The Insane Case of Randy Stair. If you're curious about more disturbing details of this killer, there are also several other really good ones, but Explore With Us so far has been one of the most detailed and insightful, and they're also rather unbiased when it comes to reporting. They have a good channel in general, and they tend to cover a lot more modern day crimes, especially those that have like police cams and stuff like that. Randy Stair's case, or Andrew Blaze, they do go into depth about how obsessed he was with Amber McLean to the point where he created his own OCs to interact with Amber McLean. He had his own series with Amber, and he just was obsessed. And in the documentary, if I remember right, he had basically left it up to a dice roll or like a flip of a coin as to whether he was just going to end his life at home or if he's going to take people with him. And unfortunately, it ended up in a mass shooting murder-suicide. And it is categorized as a mass shooting since 3 or more people died. Technically 4 people died. But yeah, it was a weird case, and he had a pretty decently sized YouTube channel, and it is sad that it went that way. But this is why I recommend people get therapy. And now we're gonna cover probably the most interesting thing I found the entire time when I was looking at like interesting murder cases in stores, and that is the Murder Kroger. It was the nickname of a store of those who lived in the area of 725 Ponce de Leon Avenue in Ponce Highland, Atlanta. The store, which opened in 1980, has had its share of weird occurrences that led to this nickname. In 1990, a bomb-like device was found in the store but did not detonate. 1991, Cynthia Perlow was shot and killed in the parking lot. Case is unsolved. 2002, August. A dead body was found by a shopper in the parking lot. Body was not identified. 2012, Lee Laurie was murdered in the building that shared a parking lot with the Kroger. March 10th, 2015, Joshua R. Ritchie was shot in a parking lot beside the building. And in October 2016, the building was demolished due to the nickname. A new one was built in a different area but still suffers from the nickname from the locals. To this day, people still even call the new Krogers the Murder Kroger. I don't think it's ever going to lose that nickname, and I would not be surprised if in the future we have more cases that follow that Kroger instead. But yeah, Murder Kroger, that's a wild name. Now then, weird crimes and occurrences. Here's some head-scratching crimes. The homeless woman living in a sign. Just as the title goes, a store in Michigan this year had found a woman living inside the store's sign. Oh, my husband came back fast. WA&E 15 reported that contractors from a Michigan grocery store found a strange extension cord coming out of the sign at the store where they were working at. When they opened the sign, they found a 34-year-old woman living inside with a computer, printer, and a coffee maker, along with clothes and stuff like that. The woman, who is not named, had a job, but had just lived unassigned for the past year. She was not charged and given references for places to go. Even if this was illegal and a form of trespassing, this was a compassionate way for the story to end. No one knows where she went from there. But she full on lived inside the sign. The sign apparently was big enough where she could just comfortably live in there. It is wild because Michigan has some very cold winters, so I'm wondering how she survived literally in a sign unless she had a little portable heater with her. This is the case that Cell actually gave me to start off this Friday review. Found dead behind a cooler. When workers removed shelves and coolers from a defunct supermarket. Wow, I have so many spelling mistakes in here. I need to edit these better next time. Supermarket, no frills, supermarket. They found something they weren't expecting. There were human remains behind a cooler that were identified to be of those of a man that had been missing since November 28th, 2009. Larry Eli Murillo Moncada was reported missing by his parents after he fled to home and was said to have been acting irrationally, possibly due to medication he was taking. Despite extensive searches, the young man could not be found. And what I mean by extensive searches, they looked at jails, they looked at homeless shelters, and they looked at deportation centers since Murillo Moncada had been deported to Honduras before and had just come back. So they were thinking maybe he got nabbed or something, but no, none of those panned out. Investigators theorized he climbed on top of the cooler since that was a place employees used for their breaks, but fell into the gap between the wall and the cooler instead. It was deemed an accidental death. They think that because of how loud the coolers were, nobody could hear him scream. Nobody could hear him call for help. And with the gap being 18 inches, he likely eventually suffocated, depending on how he fell, because he would not have been able to breathe in and out enough. That is a terrifying way to die. And it is wild to think that since 2009, those stores did not pull their coolers out to put clean behind them. Because if those coolers had been cleaned behind regularly, at least once a year, that body would have been found a lot sooner. Dead in a pillar. Reports of a body found inside a pillar in Lancaster, California came about when there was a strong odor emanating from the area. Police believe it is a man who ran to the store to avoid being arrested for vehicle theft. Police had chased him onto the roof, where they were unable to locate him. Since the pillars were accessible on the inside on the roof, they believe he climbed in or fell in. California had a huge heat wave in 2023, and that man was likely trapped inside what would have become a stone oven. He was found by a plumber who was hired to see if there was a possible sewage problem in the pipes located inside a pillar. It likely was not a fast death, because it would have been the boiled frog thing where it would have been nice and cool and then eventually became super hot depending on the time of day. And I would not be surprised if that body wasn't at least partially mummified from the heat. Now then, I couldn't find any more really weird ones, so I decided to go into something a little lighter after all this death. We're gonna talk about video games, a few video games based in stores. There's a ton of store-based video games, but these are ones that I have played or want to play that I found. So video games based in stores. I've played a ton of store-based video games that there's so many of them. Supermarket Simulator just came out this year. Just as the name implies, you run a supermarket. Daily game where you have to buy items, stock them, and sell them. As you earn money, you can start selling more items. You have to unlock them buying licenses for those items, which basically means that you're allowed to sell those items inside the store. They cost quite a bit of money. There's a decorating aspect to the game. You can buy more shelves, fridges, freezers, and other furniture that a grocery store has. There's also expansions to make the store bigger. You can buy a storage room that's next door where you can keep extra supplies on hand. You can expand the store and all that too. It's a lot. Yes, you can also eventually hire employees for various tasks that are needed to run a successful store. It is good to hire employees, especially as you start selling more items, more customers come in. Every day you have to check the price of items so you can change them to ensure you aren't charging more or way less than what the market standard is. So a box of cereal that you were able to get away with selling for $7.69 because everybody else was selling it for $7.70 suddenly drops down. You need to drop it down from $7.69 to $4.59. You have to keep track of that stuff, because if the item is too expensive, people aren't going to buy it and you're going to lose money. So they give you a market value. So they're saying this item costs $2.50, but everyone is selling it for $4. Best thing to do is sell it for $3.99. You make the most amount of profit that way. But if you want to be nice, you can sell it for like $2.50, and that actually undercuts the market and can cause prices to drop overall. So you can keep track of even little things like that. Trader Life Simulator. Much like Supermarket Simulator, you run a store. This game came out in 2021, I believe. There's a lot more to do in this game, as you have to pick up and deliver your own goods. This also means you have to maintain your vehicle. Don't want to break it down during delivery after all. Sorry, got distracted by my phone going off, or watch going off. This game has 2 locations, and you also have a house to go back to. There is a night-day system and weather that can affect how many customers come in and so on. And you have the option to run different types of stores other than a supermarket. So this game has a lot of varieties. So you can run like a gaming store, you can run a video store, you can run a furniture store, you can run a supermarket. But basically you're starting from scratch. There is a decorating aspect to it, where you can set up the store. There is also the whole prices drop on some items, prices drop on other items, and so on and so forth. If you want horror, this is the convenience store. The Chella's Art horror game where you run a konbini, or a convenience store. Every night you leave your home to walk to your job where you stock the shelves and do other tasks left to you by your day manager. As each night goes on, you find that there's something strange and scary going on. Is it just you being tired from working night shifts, or is there something paranormal going on? And at one point, where did your manager go? This game has a puzzle in it and an intriguing story. Like all Chilla's Art games, this game isn't too long, but it still has some good jump scares and other creepy moments as it captures horror from the aspects of Japanese culture. I played this game on stream. Oh my god, I about cried. Also, I'm very stupid when it comes to puzzles. Another, now it goes on in like a Starbucks type thing, not in a store, but it's still a good mention, is the closing shift. You're an overnight worker at a coffee shop where you actually make the coffee and serve customers as they come in. The game explains each recipe and you can pretend to be a barista. News comes in about stalkers in your area. Are you being stalked, or is that just a creepy guy who keeps popping up wherever you are? Like the convenience store, this game shows some of the aspects of what Japanese consider scary and is also a short game. The coffee making aspect can be a bit frustrating though. Wow, I need to literally double check what I write next time again. This one's interesting. I played this one on stream too, and you also have like the cleaning and stocking aspect and all that. And of course you're a solo worker, just like in a konbini in a convenience store. Strange horticulture. A game with many different endings depending on the choices you make in-game. It starts out with your character inheriting a store where you can make potions and sell plants. You become a horticulturalist. There's a large puzzle aspect to this game, as you need to identify plants so that customers can get what they want. Exploration is also part of this game, as some of the plants you need to grow in very specific areas. As you run this store, you learn about a possible cult in the area that may or may not be killing people. Do you want to investigate? Maybe just ignore it? Join the cult instead? All these are options. Plus, you get to pet a cat. There's so many endings to this game, and you can replay it so many times. You find out very interesting facts that are actually true about the plants set in game, and also like what like their mythological thoughts and meanings and stuff are. It is a very interesting game, and it is a very kind of confusing at first shop type game because you are running was basically considered a botany store. Yeah, it's interesting. The puzzles are great. The puzzles are wonderful. And this one's for the stoners. Weed crafting. Grow your own weed. Breed new strains. Learn about the financial, political, and cultural aspects of weed in America. It's a management game as you need to buy planters and make sure your plants grow well so you can sell. There's a story, but who cares? Weed. There are several weed type games, but this one has some of the best aspects to it. Like there's one that Call Me Kevin played that is just like kind of a knockoff of a game like this. And this one actually like teaches you about actual strains and stuff like that of sativa and indica. I personally don't smoke it, but like, dude, if you want to learn about weed, play Weedcraft. Learn about marijuana. Learn about all that stuff. But yeah, there's so many store games. So many store games. Little Witch in the Woods is a store game that I really want. So, what about stores can be so fascinating and weird? Look, if I know, I avoid stores since people scare me. And just to round out this presentation, have a picture of Half Baked Keach, my baby sister's corgi-sized cat. Isn't he beautiful? This motherfucker is half Maine Coon, half Siamese. And every time she shows me a picture of him, he's gigantic and he is still growing. This cat would not be smart like Khajiit and sell things. This cat would be one of those Khajiit that you're just like, are you okay? Who knows? Half Baked Quiche could be like Mike the Liar. Now, if you don't play the Elder Scrolls series, you're probably not going to know who Mike the Liar is. But Mike will tell you many lies. Or is he telling you truths? Basically, Mike will tell you little tidbits about the Elder Scrolls series. Like, if you listen to him, he'll, like, in Oblivion, tell you why there's no kids in the games. Skyrim is, like, one of the first games that actually had children in it. Morrowind and Oblivion did not have kids. But Skyrim suddenly introduced kids because the Fallout series had kids in it. Yeah, so like if you listen to Mike, he basically gives you tidbits about the previous games, and it's funny running into him. So like I think Half Baked Quiche would very much be like Mike the Liar. If you're wondering why this was so short, I'm very tired. I have had a week. As far as I know, I have a subject for next Friday. But if you want to submit a idea, I have a Google form pinned, or as Sal did, and you have a way to contact me directly, just contact me directly. It has to be a subject that will not get me banned from Twitch. So like this was great, talking about some true crime stuff while talking about how scary supermarkets and other stores can be. If you do have to go to a store, the likelihood of ending up murdered at a store is very low. You're probably more likely to get attacked by a cow, but the chances are never zero. And with that, I'm gonna go. I'm tired. I'm gonna go on a walk. It's nice outside. So yeah, I hope all y'all have fun, and I'll be back when I'll be back. if you like this content, follow, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. I've dropped under 400 followers and that makes me a little sad because I was so excited that I finally hit 400. So maybe we can get over 400 again. That'd be nice. But yeah. Yeah. I hope all y'all have a good night or good day. I don't know. Whatever time zone you're in. And yeah, you'll probably see this cute little PNG I personally made in future streams when I collab with people. If you want to know what it is all about, let me fuck, did I save it? Did I save the picture? Let me, one moment, let me get rid of the blah PowerPoint real fast. And slideshow. Because I need to clip. God, what's gonna be on my clip page studio first page? I don't know. You're gonna figure it out with me. Like, can't I just dip? There you go. You'll see in a moment. Open. Voices. You guys want to know why this little guy is this little guy? Because I have lore to drop. I'm still need to polish this all the way, but there's a thing in Germany called a Tatzelwurm. And a Tatzelwurm is basically a dragon cat. It is folklore from the Alpine region of South Central Europe. It can also be called a Stollenwurm or Stollwurm. And it's a lizard-like creature often described as having the face of a cat with a serpent-like body. It can be slender or stubby with 4 short legs or 2 forelegs. It is sometimes venomous or attacks with poison breath. And makes a high-pitched or hissing sound, which you guys have heard my high-pitched sounds. And I heard of Tatzelwurm when I was little, and I think Tatzelwurm are completely adorable. And it is something I want to do for years, ever since I started bringing out my model. I'm coming up on 4 years of streaming. So yeah, have you a little bit of lore, have you a Tatzelwurm. I'm going to be officially changing everything from Apple Cat to Tatzelwurm here shortly, and see if anybody notices or if anybody's just gonna like roll with it. But yeah, that's what my PNG is about. And one day I will have a ref person make something with my Tatzelwurm. This is my art, by the way. I'm the one who drew this. I am learning clip paint. There's so many brushes. I'm used to working with basic bitch, very old paint shop or Photoshop. I started playing with Photoshop in high school and I graduated almost 20 years ago. That, if that tells you how old the Photoshop was that I used, I had 10 brushes and I was happy with my 10 brushes. And now I have so many brushes that I need to like figure out what each brush does, and it is an experience. But yeah, my hubby is letting me use his tablet for art, and honestly, let me tell you, after not drawing regularly for the past decade, it has been very relaxing just sitting there and drawing things. But yeah, that's my Tatzelwurm. What my cute little boy, my cute little boy is a Tatzelwurm. So now you can make all the dragon jokes you want, because that's the dragon cat. Yep. Sal kind of called it in the stream. But yes, my worm reactive. Would you still love me if I was a worm? It very much ties into this. But yeah, all of you who actually stuck around got to see this lore drop. Those of you who didn't, well, you're going to be surprised when all of a sudden it's just tot little woman instead of apple cat everywhere. But yes, I hope you all have a good day, good night, whatever, your time zone is. Bye, 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 bye.